Hello everyone, Mina, konnichiwa. I'm Fernando, and today we will look at 6 reasons why most people quit learning Japanese. So let's get into the reasons why people quit. First off, what do I mean by quit? Of course, some people get good enough with Japanese that they don't have to study anymore. In that case, they stop studying. Of course, right? What I mean by quitting is people who stop learning Japanese before their Japanese gets to a conversational level. By conversational level, I mean they can read, write, talk to people, interact, and they can talk about different things like philosophy, biology, chemistry, it doesn't have to be that deep, politics, the economy, express their ideas clearly. Before getting to that stage, most people will have called it a day. Okay, so let's get into our reasons why. Reason number 1, they didn't think about how difficult it would be to study a language. So a lot of people just wake up one morning, they want to do something, what sounds like a good challenge. I know, let's learn a new language. And that is great. It is great when you think that way, because a new challenge is always a good thing. And, of course, to up the ante a little bit, of course, Spanish and German sounds a little bit boring, it sounds a little bit tame, right? If you have kanji, hiragana, and katakana, it sounds more exciting when you can say that you've learned a language with 3 different types of written forms, right? So, yes and no, because that also makes it more difficult. You probably forgot how hard it was to learn English. We spend all our kindergarten and grade school and high school life learning English. You forgot about how you know the rules that you know, what the lesson was. You had English teachers, you had your parents probably correct you, and you forgot about what it took to get you to the English level that you currently have. When that happens, you probably think, okay, I'm just going to learn a language here, just teach me a few words and we'll be fine. I've seen so many times people saying things like, hey, can I get someone to teach me Japanese? A single person does not have enough time to teach you, much less for free, to teach you word by word, grammatic structure by grammatic structure, how to speak a language. You are not looking at 100 words or 1,000 words even. You're looking at upwards of 10,000 different words and how to use them in different scenarios, different cases, different situations. You cannot have one person just throw you a book or just throw you a bunch of words and there you speak the language. It's a lifetime thing that you have committed yourself to. So some people, they think it just sounds funny or it sounds like a cool idea at the time. They don't really realize what it means to study a language. So that would be my point number 1. Point number 2 is they don't actually care about grammar or languages in general. A lot of people will say things like, oh yeah, I was lazy when it came to English, but yeah, I'm assuming they speak English as a second language. But when it comes to Japanese, no, I'm going to totally be serious. Now I'm going to focus on grammar. Because when I look at the messages on boards that are about Japanese, there are a lot of mistakes, I written with a small I, and these sorts of things that they don't understand past tense and present tense and future tense. All these sorts of mistakes that kind of accumulate and send to me the idea that this person does not care about English grammar. I'm not sure why they would suddenly change and start to care about Japanese grammar. And so a lot of people think studying Japanese is an anomaly to studying other languages. It is not. Studying Japanese is very much like studying any other language. So if you love languages, grammar, rules, how linguistics, how languages are connected to each other, the history of the words, their root, why things are the way they are linguistically. If you are a person who enjoys this, you will enjoy learning Japanese. If you can't be bothered, then you can't be bothered. So you will not enjoy it and you will probably quit. Rule number 3, I'm sorry it is getting a little bit long. Their original reason to study is simply not good enough. Now, before you go on a rant or anything, Let me start this off by saying I originally studied Japanese because I wanted to understand the Japanese in JRPGs, or Japanese RPGs, or Japanese video games. So I wanted to read manga in Japanese, understand anime without subtitles, and I wanted to play video games in Japanese. That was the first reason why I started to speak or learn Japanese. That is no longer my reason. That was my starting. So it could be something as trivial as wanting to play video games, but if you're serious about it, it doesn't really matter. So to all the people who have a somewhat otaku related reason for studying Japanese, I am not saying that it is weak. It depends on the person. But sometimes your reason by itself might not be enough to carry you all the way, because it's a lot of painstaking hours, embarrassment, humiliation. You talk to people they don't understand. You say something, it's wrong. So you have to really, really, really stick to your convictions. And if your convictions are not strong, you may find yourself quitting. The next one, number 4, very obvious, lack of practice or people to speak with. You will probably find that if you work a 9-to-5 job in another country that's not Japan, you will find yourself without many situations to get better, improve upon, etc. And also too tired to try to find friends online and try to Skype meeting with people, with plus the hour difference. So overall, you will just may find that the lack of practice and the lack of situations in which you can use Japanese if you're not in Japan are just too much to overcome this difficulty, and therefore you'll have to quit, unfortunately. Okay, reason number 5. You underestimated how hard Japanese would actually be. Japanese is not a phonetic language, which means you can start to speak and be understood fairly easily. And right into your first month, people will understand what you're saying, most likely. Okay, your accent will probably not be bad enough so that people are just, what? Huh? What are you saying? It will probably be good enough, and that should be encouraging enough. But most people do underestimate how hard Japanese is. In the United States, they have this metric of how long it would take to train someone to teach a foreign language. They found that a bunch of European languages are very easy, and teaching Japanese to trained professionals who are supposed to be very smart people took the longest amount of time, bar none. There was no language that came close. Japanese was the hardest one to get someone who doesn't know any Japanese to speak, in contrast to getting someone to speak a different language. So much so that the studying time would be 4 times as much as the easier languages, which means in the amount of time that you could learn French, Portuguese, Italian, and Spanish all together, you would be like an intermediate in Japanese. Okay, so underestimating the fact that you are going into the deep end here. If you decide that Japanese is your thing, please be advised this is not the easy language. The grammar is not created for English, unlike how European languages were created with the other language in mind. Asian languages were created with a little bit with each other in mind, but again, completely separated from English and from German and from Spanish, French, etc. So it is going to take a lot of time and patience to learn Japanese. Do not think this is easy. It will not be easy. But if you try, you can do it. Okay, the last reason, and there are some other small minor reasons, but the last reason, a major reason why a lot of people quit Japanese is because they have only one source of learning or only one teacher, or they rely too heavily on one teacher or on one friend or on one girlfriend. And yeah, okay, for example, if it's a girlfriend and you break up, you may lose a motivation to study. If you have a Japanese teacher but you do not like his teaching methods, you may find yourself unmotivated. Remember that many Japanese teachers teach through trial and error and not through comprehensive explanations. So you might find that a Japanese teacher may not fully be able to convey what you want to know, aside from, yes, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. That is my personal experience. I like to study by myself better than with a teacher, just because I want to understand everything as opposed to why I made a particular mistake in an exam. but that is the method of teaching of preference here, and you have to find out if it's for you or it's not. And if there is a problem with your source, your friend, your teacher, etc., you might want to look at a different source, a new teacher, or trying to self-study, or a new method, as opposed to just giving up. Also, you might want to look at multiple sources at the same time. Not only songs and anime, but also using websites, online G-Show, and applications to meet friends, and several different types of sources for learning Japanese, as opposed to sticking to one YouTuber or one friend or one application. Try to use as many different applications, as many different sources, tests, reading practice, speaking practice, listening practice, and use all of these together in order to understand and learn Japanese. Okay, so that we're going to be concluding. There were other minor reasons that I thought of from the top of my head, but these were the main ones and the most important reasons why the majority of people do end up quitting Japanese. The reason I made this video is, if you're starting, I don't want you to quit. I want you to stay in for the long haul. But I want you to understand what we are getting ourselves into. Okay? And it is important. One of the keys that I would like to tell everyone here is, if you have a goal and a dream, like learning Japanese, do not tell people this. Do not make gigantic announcements. If you're just starting learning Japanese, do not post it on Facebook or on Reddit or anything, because it ruins the surprise or the that cathartic moment when you finally pass the JLPT test, and when you finally get to Japan and you're speaking Japanese and making Japanese friends. You ruin it all by making this big Facebook statement saying, "Hey guys, I'm learning Japanese today," or "From now on, I'm learning Japanese." Your dopamine goes up, the euphoria level hits the top, and from then on, the reason for studying kind of diminishes. So, and this is true about anything, not just studying Japanese. So if you are serious about studying Japanese, keep it a secret, stay underground for a little bit, don't try to show off too early, and maybe you might want to do all of the JLPTs in 5, 4, 3. Me personally, I skipped down 5 and 4, and I kind of regret it, to be honest. If I could go back, I would have done those, because they're small little victory steps. And so that's my advice to you. If you are studying Japanese, do not make gigantic expressions about studying Japanese. Let your actions speak for themselves, and slowly but surely build on your vocabulary. You may notice that I did not really say anything in Japanese this time, okay? There are other videos where you can see me speaking in Japanese or explaining the Japanese language itself. So please look at those videos, and for now, I will be saying goodbye. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, subscribe, and yeah, whatever you'd like to hear or see, please let us know. Once again, I'm Fernando from Getting Ready for Japan, and you guys take care.